This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold, soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
Welcome back to Fine Tuning with Drew Taylor, your one-stop shop when it comes to animation news and commentary. I'm entertainment writer Jim Hill, and Mr. Taylor, whose writings in the industry you can regularly read over on The Wrap, and whose musings on the Mission Impossible movies you can still listen to on Light the Fuse, the official Mission Impossible podcast. Drew and I are recording this on Sunday, September 7th, so it is... what now? Officially the weekend after Labor Day. So, correct me if I'm wrong. Awards season has officially gotten underway, or is now about to get underway.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we're in kind of festival season now, Jim. So I feel like we had Venice, Telluride, and now Toronto's going on right now. So I think we're in it. We're in the thick of it, yeah.
And as Drew mentioned, Venice just wrapped up, on Saturday. Toronto just got underway on Thursday. In fact, already some interesting stuff coming out of Toronto between people seem to really like I Like Me, the John Candy thing. Likewise, it looks like the third Knives Out movie, Wake Up Dead Man, seems to be... what are you hearing from the festival circuit?
Yeah, I mean, I got to see one movie that I reviewed called Fuse that is really good, that is looking for a distributor. You'll love this, Jim. It's about a construction team that uncovers a unexploded World War II bomb in the middle of London. They evacuate the area. And of course, what happens, Jim? A gang of thieves comes in to rob a bank in that area that they've evacuated for the bomb.
Wow.
So it is kind of, it's a very cool, it's Aaron Taylor Johnson, Sam Worthington, Theo James. It's really, really fun. So it was so entertaining, Jim, that I cannot imagine someone not picking it up. That's how much fun I had watching it. But yeah.
Oh no, that sounds like something. Fuse. Okay.
Fuse, yes,
right.
yes.
Keep an eye.
From the director of Hell or High Water from a couple of years ago. So yeah.
Cool. Well, anyway, because this is festival season, which Drew has to cover all of this stuff for his other job, senior film reporter on The Wrap. So, and not to mention being a doggy doctor. And can we offer an update on Nova?
Yes, I know. I feel like I'm a vet tech at this point. Also, her stitches came out on Friday. She's feeling so much better. She's on the couch next to me. If the audio seems a little weird, it's because I had to do this in the living room because I'm tending to the dog. And yeah, thank you for asking, Jim, and for reaching out about her. She's recovering well. She's a good girl.
Good to hear. Okay, so anyway, because Drew has a lot to do, we got to get to work here. So might be a trifle short today, but that's okay. It'll be fun to listen to. Anyway, of course, the reason you get to listen to this podcast every week is because we have a sponsor, which is UnlockedMagic.com. And then quick personal note to Eddie G, who wrote in last month to say, well, first of all, that he was sorry to hear about Brian Gaughan's sad passing. And to follow up on your earlier note, Eddie, yes, we do have a tribute show for Brian in the works. I've actually been going back and forth with Brian's widow, Liana, likewise his wonderful kids, Devin and Brianna, and we hope to actually have that show posted on Jim Hill Media sometime later this month. Mind you, one tiny hiccup in regard to getting Brian's tribute show done is, well, my own mother passed away this week, which, look, admittedly sad. but not Ted. As I was just explaining to Mr. Taylor off air here, my mom was 93 and only on Monday had learned that she had, in addition to being elderly, a very serious underlying medical condition. So it wasn't exactly a surprise when we lost her 72 hours later. But this is a woman who had a good, long life. More to the point, Nancy and I were down there at her house on Wednesday and had a lovely visit with her, just less than 12 hours before we lost her. And she was funny and she was present and she was sharp and engaged and when we were having lunch. So I have to say, I would love to be that way when I'm in my 90s. So anyway, between all of the stuff surrounding my mom's passing, in fact, Drew and I were just talking about this as well, that there's so much now scheduling of graveside things and celebrations of life. That's probably gonna slow down production of Brian's tribute show, but I promise we will get that out the door. Likewise, Eddie G also asked about the name of our sponsor, Drew, which is unlockedmagic.com. Please note the ED at the end of Unlocked. And this is where you go to get real discounts on Walt Disney World and Universal Orlando tickets, sometimes upwards of 12% off. And just so you know, Unlocked Magic is run by the exact same team behind the DVC rental store and the DVC resale market. So you can just pick your dates, grab your tickets, and they're also selling tickets to after-hour events like Mickey's Not So Scary or Halloween Horror Nights at Universal, which, by the way, going really fast. Anyway, again, that's unlockmagic.com. Get your tickets there and then tell them that Jim and Drew sent you. And Drew, I know I'm going to get crap from people who say it's weird or insensitive that I broke the news about my mom's dying in the lead up to a commercial. But
it's what she would have wanted, Jim. You know what I mean? That's what I think.
My very weird sense of humor, I got directly from my mom. Part of her would probably be amused by that. On the other hand, it's my dad who gave me my propensity for long, pointless stories. So anyway, if you do enjoy what I do here, folks, or if you don't, oh well, now you know who to blame. Frank and Barbara Hill. Anyway, now, switching to this week's box office news. Drew, did you see this coming at all with the Conjuring Last Rites? I mean, it was expected to do well, right?
It was expected to be number one, and I think the only real thought was that it was going to be a continuation of Warner Brothers' amazing run this year, which would have been having it make more than $40 million. What it ended up making, as we can now tell people, is they're thinking it's $85.4 million, I think, for the opening weekend, which is insane. I mean, I think people are very much in the kind of spooky season vibe.
In fact, I meant to ask you about that. I mean, obviously, you've been tending to Nova, but Halloween Horror Night just started out in Hollywood.
I know. I didn't get to go. Okay. I didn't get to go on Thursday, but I'm going to go next week, I think. They were very understanding, and they knew about Nova, so I just said, we were getting her prepped for her visit, so I could not go. But I'm really excited to go. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird. There's no a Conjuring maze this year or anything. Like there's no kind of experiential stuff. But I thought that it was incredible that they made $85.4 million. It's just absolutely insane.
Yeah. And just so
good for them.
Just so you know, folks, again, there are 8 other films in this series. The 2 actual sequels to Conjuring, and then there are the prequels, the Annabelle movies and the Nun movies. So to date, the even before what happened this past weekend, this series had made $2.4 billion. It's the highest grossing horror franchise to date, and what's going on with the 9th film, that'll what is it? It's the 3rd biggest opening ever for a horror film. Yeah,
I think it'll actually be. It might be 2nd by the time the weekend's over. But yeah, I mean, it's It's also very interesting that this is supposed to be the last one, Jim. Do you think they're rethinking that plan at this point?
Well,
how many Friday the 13th movies have the word last?
That's it exactly. I would honestly be, particularly with this number, and that's the thing. I went over to Movie Spoiler to at least be conversational about this, and this one pretty definitively ends the series. So, but who knows? That again, Annabelle and the Nun were prequels. I'm sure now they'll figure out how to do a prequel about the evil mirror in this one. But
well, I always thought that there should be an HBO show where they just solve a different haunting every week. I don't know why that has not happened.
Hey, well, let's remember that you are talking about HBO and Warner Brothers. Home of the brand new Harry Potter series. Speaking of which, did you see Warwick Davis is coming back as Professor Flitwick? He's the first.
Yes, making this show even more pointless, Jim, than it was before.
Okay. All right. Getting back to the box office report for this week. Number 2 was Hamilton, the film version of the Tony Award winning Broadway musical, which, again, what's fascinating about this, Drew, is that it's been available for viewing on Disney Plus since the July 4th weekend of 2020. In fact, if I remember correctly, the original plan was Hamilton was supposed to go out into theaters in October of 2021. And, face it, we were in the middle of the pandemic. The world fell apart. And wasn't it that Disney effectively turned around to the producers of the movie version of Hamilton and said, here's $75 million. We want to run this on the streaming service now. Yeah. Because people at home.
I really wonder how they had to re-engineer these contracts for these theatrical events. But yeah, just like K-pop Demon Hunters, when you put it in the theater, people are going to go. So yeah.
But anyway, by the way, just a reminder, Hamilton debuted on Broadway back in January 2015. In fact, just this past June, they had, as part of the Tony, the broadcast, they had a live on stage reunion of the original cast, which was kind of cool. Anyway, going down the list, the first animated film to turn up in this week's top 10 domestic is Light of the World, which managed to grab the number 7 position with 700,000 in domestic ticket sales. Do you know about this, Drew? The 2D version?
Well, I saw who was behind it. It was at least one of the Bancrofts is involved, right?
It is. In fact, I was so embarrassed today writing up the reference for today's show because, Tom Bancroft is actually Nancy's friend. And for those of you who don't know, that Tom's brother is Tony Bancroft, the co-director of Mulan. Anyway, John J. Schaefer co-directed Light of the World with Tom, and I feel like with the Bancrofts involved, I may need to check this one out.
Your soul could use it, Jim.
Oh, yeah. Good. That goes without saying. Anyway, the other animated film in this week's top 10, Bad Guys 2, 400,000 in ticket sales North America, currently standing at 75 million domestic, 103 overseas. Worldwide box office, 178 worldwide. But again, important to stress here, Bad Guys 2 has been available for streaming since, August 19th. Though, that said, again, Mr. Chael and I bring this up all the time because we are huge proponents of physical media. The DVD, Blu-ray, high-def version of the DreamWorks animation film doesn't hit shelves till October 7th. Elio's this week, isn't it? Or
Elio is on Tuesday. Okay. So I encourage everybody to get that because I'm sure it's going to look and sound amazing. And I really, really like that movie. And maybe with it coming on physical media, Jim Hill, the host of an animation podcast, will watch it. So we'll see. We can only hope.
We can only hope. Okay. We just talked about one feature animation Florida vet, Tom Bancroft. In a moment, we will talk about another Disney animator and director who used to work at that facility down at MGM. But first, this.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Psst. Healthcare pros, word's out, and it's too good to keep quiet. Look, LinkedIn is revolutionizing job hunting, making it possible to search by specialty, shift preference, and salary. Endless scrolling is out. Whether it's a mental health therapist or dental hygienist, finding the perfect role is faster and easier than ever. Head to linkedin.com/healthcare and start your search today.
Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
And we're back. Okay, Drew, we previously talked on this podcast about Aaron Blaise, the co-director of Disney's Brother Bear, which went out into theaters October of 2003 and was the very last feature-length animated film to be produced at Walt Disney Animation Studios, Florida. By the way, Blaise's co-director in that movie was Robert Walker. And since 2020, Aaron has been working on a passion project, a short hand-drawn film called Snow Bear. He shared some concept art for this back in 2019, and it took him 3 years to complete. It's an 11-minute long movie with a wonderful score by Mark Messina, who, by the way, also did the score for Brother Bear along with Phil Collins. Movie got completed in 2024, and you were at this year's Annecy, where it was shown in competition. Did you get to see Snow Bear, Drew? Or?
I did not get to see it. Jim, you know my Annecy is running around from one thing to the
Absolutely.
next. But I've been like you. I've been kind of like following its production history and waiting for it with bated breath because Aaron is just like such a character and such an amazing artist.
Absolutely,
just dying to see it.
Same thing here. And in fact, what's killing me is it's been shown at Tribeca. It was shown at the Florida Film Festival, San Francisco International Film Festival, even got screened at the British Animation Film Festival. And what killed me last week, I get a notice to the effect of if I want to view it online, all I have to do is sign up for a lifetime pass to the Art of Aaron Blaise website, which by the way features over 800 hours of classes. And it was literally one of these things where I like, okay, so do I do this for Alice? And then I get to see the movie. And I again, I'm such a technological idiot. I missed, I couldn't get it set up in time. But the trailer's out there now, Drew, which by the way, absolutely destroyed me. It makes me want to see this movie even more. But have I ever told you my Aaron Blaise story?
I don't think so. Why don't you share it with all of us,
okay.
Jim?
All right. So, all right. Nancy and I we're friendly with Tom Bancroft, which is how we found out that Brother Bear was in the works back in 1998. This is right after work is wrapping up on Mulan. And it's going to be the brand new film that's going to be produced at Walt Disney Feature Animation Florida, which, by the way, at the time, kind of borrowing a page from the way The Lion King took its inspiration from Shakespeare's Hamlet, the indecisive son, the devious uncle. Back there, and Disney's Bears was supposed to be inspired by King Lear. So it was like a daddy bear with three little daughter bears, one sweet and two others spiteful and scheming. Anyway, Tom tells Nancy and myself that Aaron's going to be making his directorial debut on, again, what's at this time is being just called Disney's Bears. And since my day job at the time was working at Barnes & Noble, well, I used my employee discount to buy 3 picture books that were loaded with all of these great images of bears, figuring that, Aaron, just getting started on this, and he might appreciate some additional visual reference. And so Aaron gets this package at work and immediately starts to freak out. I guess in hindsight, maybe not my smartest move. This is literally at the height of the initial battling between Disney and DreamWorks, and this is Andrew. You understand? 1998. This is literally when what is it? Pixar is accusing DreamWorks of taking the idea from a Bug's Life and making ants.
Yes.
Right. So picture this. You're Aaron Blaise, and this package shows up on your desk with 3 picture books of bears, along with a note to the effect of wishing him well in his directorial debut, and Aaron's like, who the hell is this guy up in New Hampshire, and how does he know about this super secret movie that we're making? So it's like, first Tom had to apologize, and then I had to apologize. Just trying to explain, no, this is totally innocent. I have no vested interest in this movie at all, and so
that's funny.
On the other hand,
well, wait, before we move on, Jim, did we talk about how Andreas is now consulting on the villain's land?
No,
because I think that is a nice connection here with Aaron and Tom and all these veterans. Yeah. So I guess the word came out from Destination D23 last weekend that one of our favorite people, Andreas Deja, is going to be consulting on the villain's land. And now what that means, Jim, you and I both know consulting could mean many things, great and small. But I think it is great that they're including somebody who brought so many iconic Disney villains to life.
Absolutely.
In this project.
And speaking of a Destination D, and by the way, I want to stress here that Drew Taylor is a man who can actually keep a secret as opposed to me. Because, first of all, I have to ask, how long now have you actually known about Hexed?
I have known for a while, and I kept my mouth shut.
There we go.
Which is why I was kind of annoyed that I didn't get a heads up that it was going to be announced last weekend.
Okay.
I'm also, very friendly with Jason Hand, who is so this is Jim is referring to the new Disney animated feature that will be directed by Josie Trinidad, who is an incredible story artist. And she is being joined now by Jason Hand, who was one of the directors on Moana 2. And it looks like a really cool kind of like modern fantasy world with witches. I don't know. I would have bumped the release date up maybe to be more Halloween appropriate, but I don't know. What do you think about it, Jim?
Well, first of all, again, I also want to acknowledge that Rory Connolly, who Drew and I also love, and Juan Pablo Reyes Lancaster Jones, they're the two who are producing Hexed. Now, again, I don't want to necessarily, tip the hand here, but I've been hearing this has music, but is not a musical. And have you heard?
I haven't heard anything about the music. Do we know who is doing it? Have you heard that?
When I asked about this, they immediately volunteered that, Kristen and Bobby, they're doing, full scores for Frozen 3 and Frozen 4. But as for Hex, it was like, shut up, don't ask questions. Just show up to the theater. Okay. When it shows up in theaters, by the way, November of 2026. Now,
Yeah.
Before that, of course, we get Zootopia 2, which arrives in theaters Wednesday before Thanksgiving. That's November 26, 2025. And also coming out of this Destination D event, we learned that 19 days before Zootopia 2 arrives in theaters, we get Zootopia Zoo Better Together, that new 3D movie thing in the base of the Tree of Life in Animal Kingdom. That opens the 7th of November.
Yes.
Okay.
And I've heard that Byron and Jared are very involved, and that the animatronics are amazing. And yeah, I've just heard nothing but good things.
Okay.
What I was told, Jim, but in no uncertain terms, was find out who's doing the press and be down there for its opening, because it is going to be awesome.
Okay, because what intrigues me about this is this project got fast-tracked. In fact, it's interesting that you bring up that Byron and Jared, he's the co.
Yeah, okay. Jared Bush. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
That actually initially this was supposed to open in January because they were supposedly so busy on Zootopia 2, but the park kind of raised its hand and said, look, we would really love to be able to push this out with our holiday offerings for the park, for Animal Kingdom. And by the way, that includes the return of the Tree of Life Awakenings Holiday Edition and the Merry Menagerie. And by the way, Drew, I am still on the job. I'm trying to get you the Luminaria version of the Merry Menagerie. In fact, I'm supposed to be down at IAPA this year in November. So if you don't make it to the press event for Zootopia Zoo Better Together, I will go into the park and I will see if I can finally, because again, the first year they did.
Oh, for the little, what was I asking you for? The little, the
those artisanal animals, the polar bears.
Yes, I love them.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's the thing. So did everybody else. They went to the show and they laughed at me. It's like, oh, pal, opening day, gone. And by the way, speaking of Disney stuff involving snow and cold, also at this year's Destination D, we learned that when Ice Age 6 will be released to theaters, and I kind of ironically enough, we first learned officially of this project November of last year, D23 Brazil. And we now have a name for this thing.
Yes.
Ice Age Boiling Point. And we know it will be arriving in theaters February 5th, 2027, just 10 weeks or so after Disney's Hexed. You hearing anything about who's directing this, or more to the point, who's handling the animation? Because the Ice Age,
I have heard the animation is being handled by the same studio that did The Adventures of Crash and Buck, or whatever that the Disney Plus movie was.
Really?
So,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, because that debuted
on
on that streaming service back in January of 2022. And if I'm being honest here, that wasn't all that impressive. But
no, it was not. No, but maybe with a theatrical budget, the animation will be better. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, we knew that it was going to move, right? Because it was slotted there before Avengers Doomsday was on the calendar. So we knew it was going to move. I'm glad it didn't move very far. But the company is very bullish on this one. And so, I mean, I hope it's great.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. No.
Have you seen Alien Earth yet, Jim? Because the Ice Age characters have a very prominent...
Do they? Oh.
Yes. I don't want to spoil anything.
Oh,
but
no.
Yeah. Maybe you can watch when you're, when you're got some downtime, and we'll talk about it on a
cool.
later episode.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Now, speaking of things... project that were coming to theaters. What we got? We learned back in 2023 about Questlove's live action redo of Disney's hand-drawn animated film from 1970, The Aristocats, and he was on another podcast, Score, the podcast, earlier this month, and he's blaming the live action and Aristocats not happening because Bob Iger came in and replaced Bob Chapek as Disney's CEO, and that, per usual, as Questlove was explaining, that when a new administration comes in, no matter what, they're going to reshuffle the schedule. And I guess what's interesting about this story is Questlove had brought in some of the music samples that he wanted to do, how they were going to handle the score from the original Aristocats and update that. And but even, as he was closing out talking about this on Score the Podcast, Questlove wanted to mention, it's not entirely dead. I mean, after all, Drew, cats have 9 lives. But the problem is that this isn't just the back burner. This is off the stove. I mean, Questlove has 4 other films he's working on now, and he was talking about the earliest he could get back to this is 2030.
Maybe that'll be the right time, Jim, for the Aristocats to come back in live action form. This was actually one of the more interesting projects, so I'm sort of sad that it's off the table, because I feel like the best way to remake the best movies to remake are ones that are kind of crummy. Mm-hmm. So why not remake the Aristocats and try to make it better instead of remaking a classic? But I think that the approach going forward on these live action movies is that the more recent ones are going to be the ones that are prioritized in terms of what is being remade after the Snow White debacle.
Or more to the point, given the buttload of money that, the live action Lilo and Stitch made, that is definitely the takeaway.
Yes. And Moana next summer, which we should be getting a first look at that sometime soon.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, again, that brings us up to date Disney animation-wise. Though, when we get back from this break, Drew and I are going to talk about, Disney princesses and Bluey. But first, this.
Introducing the perfect companion to your morning listening routine. AG1's clinically backed formula is now flavor-packed with 3 new delicious flavors: tropical, berry, and citrus. Start the day on a high note with probiotics that taste like the tropics. Mix it up with micronutrients that taste like berry or citrus. And take it all the way back with the classic, AG1 Original, with notes of pineapple and vanilla. Do your health a flavor, or 4, with AG1 Next Gen, the daily health drink. Learn more at drinkag1.com.
This episode is sponsored by Friskies, who would like to tell your cats hi. Now, if that didn't get your cat's attention, there's one thing that always does the trick. Just pour some Friskies crunchy food in the bowl and you'll hear those paws come running. Works every time. With so many Friskies choices, you can always bring your cats running from their secret napping spots. There's always more to explore. See for yourself at friskies.com or visit your local store.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
And we're back. Okay, folks, before we get to Disney Princesses and Bluey, I did want to circle back on, again, it's now post-Labor Day. We have the hard numbers for the summer of 2025 and wanted to get Mr. Taylor's take on these. And so what is it? From the first Friday in May, which I guess now is start of blockbuster season, through Labor Day. What is it? 3.5 billion to date?
Yeah, not great. Not great. They were hoping for something closer to 4.
Oh, yeah. In fact, I want to say that at least one of the trades was talking that if you factor in inflation, it's actually 1% down from where we were the same time last year. box office wise.
Yikes! So Survive Until 25 was not the move. Well, we have plenty of movies coming out this fall, but yeah, not great.
Think about it. On the Disney side of the fence, we have Tron Ares. That's October 10th. We were just talking about Zootopia 2. That's November 26th, and then Avatar: Fire and Ash. That's December 19th. And then, of course, Wicked for Good. Is there anything else that you see headed down the pike that you think is going to do, well over the next 3 to 4 months?
Well, I mean, there's an absolute lack of things in the next couple of months. But yeah, you're right. Thanksgiving and Christmas will be big time for the holiday corridor. Yeah, I mean, who knows? Who knows what can be the next Conjuring last rites, Jim?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? We got to keep our radar open for the sleepers that could come in and take it all.
Now, speaking of which, you were mentioning there were a couple of films on the festival circuit here. In fact, Ghost. There was one you mentioned today when we were pre-gaming.
Oh yeah, Ghost Boy, which is one of my favorite movies of the year. It premiered at South by. It's an amazing documentary by this guy Rodney Asher, who, Jim, you will probably know from Room 237. Did you ever see that? The movie about the conspiracy theories surrounding The Shining. Absolutely wonderful. Okay. Wonderful film. And he's done marvelous documentaries since. But this movie is great. And it just, the reason Jim and I were talking about it earlier is that it does not have distribution. And it's just one of these things where, like Fuse, Jim, Fuse could not get picked up, and it's a really commercial movie. So that's something to keep an eye on too, is just, movies that finally will get released and then hopefully have some kind of audience. Yeah.
Okay. Well, no, again, Ghost Boy and Fuse. Come on, somebody pick up pick these up.
Pick them up.
Okay. Now, that said, I mean, part of the problem, though, let's be honest, when you have these giant media corporations, I mean, that's the thing. They look for what is commercial and, more to the point, what they can leverage in different ways. I mean, these days Disney doesn't necessarily completely rely on new movies to for its bottom line. I mean, it finds new ways to use its film library. It works with IP. I mean, for example, just this past week, were you paying it? I mean, again, obviously you were taking care of your small dog. That was a top priority. But did you pay attention to any of the World Princess Week nonsense that Disney was doing?
Oh my God. I mean, it was assaulting my inbox with these things. I mean, absolutely insane. I know they did a big event at the castle.
They did.
At Walt Disney World, which people are just so excited about this new paint job, Jim. I mean, good Lord. And keep it in your pants, people.
Speaking of, I want to say, as it was actually at the Destination D, that, for example, for next year's World Princess Week, as part of, to get people excited about this, did you see where Jodie Benson is going to be the fanbassador of the Disney princesses?
I feel like this is we need to do a welfare check on Jodie Benson, because the way that they are trotting her out for all these D23 things, I feel like she's being kept in a cage in Team Disney Burbank, and somebody's rattling it. Okay, Jodie, come on out. Go on the red carpet for the Jonas Brothers Christmas movie or whatever. It's just, it's a little sad.
Okay, but on the other hand, to be completely fair here, I want to say within the past year, 18 months, Jodie wrote a memoir, part of your world, which surprisingly good. I mean, put you behind the scenes with the making of Mermaid and the stuff she does for the parks. And likewise, I mean, really poignant stories about Howard Ashman, when he was in the hospital. I mean, well worth checking out.
That sounds good.
But and by the way, as Drew mentioned, I mean, she was back to do the voice of Ariel for this thing that just showed up on the Disney Channel, or excuse me, Disney Plus, the Lego Princess Villains Unite special, and it just
oh god,
yeah. Well,
what are you talking about here, Jim? What tell us about it?
Well, okay. So the storyline of this is after Ariel, Moana, Tiana, Rapunzel, and Snow White thwart Gaston's plans to take over all of their kingdoms, he calls on Ursula, Jafar, and the Evil Queen to take down the princesses once and for all. And look, this is an animation podcast, Drew, and as a result, especially in this economy, when any animator gets to work, we're happy on this show. So,
yes,
so that's the thing. So we are happy that there is a Lego Disney Princesses Villains Unite show out there. Are Drew and I necessarily ever going to watch it? No. But on the other hand, Jonathan Freeman got a check to voice Jafar again, you know?
That's true. And we have Beavis and Butthead, which also has just returned.
There we go.
To Comedy Central. Did you see that? That it's not on MTV anymore. It's on Comedy Central. And this is when I begged Jim for his cable login to watch it. Because it's not on Paramount Plus. It's on actual linear Comedy Central.
But it's interesting you bring that up, because I was just reading in the trades this week that obviously the big Skydance Paramount merger thing, and evidently one of the priorities going forward is to figure out can we bring back MTV? Could we create a space where music video is a thing again? And in today's TikTok, YouTube world, that's an interesting idea. I don't know if you could do that.
Speaking of Paramount, Jim, can I just tell you one thing that I saw that I think I can say that I saw?
Okay.
I've seen the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles short.
Oh.
Chrome Alone 2 Lost in New Jersey. Which is, I think I can say it because it's playing in a theater in Dallas, I think, this week for your Oscar consideration. So if you're in Dallas, go see this short because it's amazing. It's in the Mutant Mayhem art style, and it is great.
Okay, and while we're talking about things in Texas, let me bring up something cool that I actually got to see last year at the Botanical Garden in the Bronx in New York, and that was...
Is this the Nightmare Before Christmas thing?
Light Trail, yeah. It's coming back this year, bigger and better, September 25th through November 30th. But the interesting thing is this year in Austin, there's going to be a second company, so to speak. And in fact, that's going to be at the Lady Bird Johnson's Wildflower Center.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's the exact same date, September 25th through November 30th. But as soon as I saw that, and you grew up in Austin, right?
Yeah, I was born in Austin.
Okay.
So you get to do it this year, Jim, but you can sweat your nuts off at the same time. That's the added... That's the kind of... they love to plus it, so that's how they plus it down there. So, yeah.
Okay. By the way, they mentioned as bring it back for Bronx that this year more music, more scenes, and finally merch, and which they did not have last year. And speaking of merch, of course, Bluey. We've got our Bluey movie coming from Disney and BBC Studios. We now actually have a release date for it, August 6, 2027, and then again, Disney being Disney, there are already plans that is, after it's in theaters, there will be you can buy it on digital at home, and then it will stream on Disney Plus, and there'll be physical media. And that said, haven't the Bluey characters supposedly been on the Disney Cruise Line since January of this year?
I was going to ask you where they are. Is that they have been on the cruise lines?
I was told that for cruises going out of Australia and New Zealand that they were on board, but I'll be damned if I've seen a single photo They've got to be doing a meet and greet, some sort of...
Yeah. It's like Bigfoot, Jim. We got to see Bluey walking across the Lido deck.
There we go.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, just in case you're wondering, folks, there are 154 episodes of Bluey. 52 from season 1, 52 from season 2, and only 50 from season 3. But again, not nearly as impressive as the nearly 300 episodes of Light the Fuse, the official Mission Impossible podcast. And Drew and his co-host, Charles Hood, interviewed all sorts of Hollywood greats for the show. I learned something every time I listen to this podcast. So, if you've got a long road trip ahead of you and you want some very pleasant company and to hear some great stories, check out Light the Fuse, the official Mission Impossible podcast.
Should I say what animators we've had on the show? Because we talked to Brad Bird. We talked to Teddy Newton, who was the voice of the mission briefing in 4 and 5. We talked to John Knoll and a bunch of the guys from ILM. So, yeah.
So there you go.
There you go. There's the animation connection. Okay, there you go. Okay.
Now, mind you, we also have some other shows here at the Jim Hill Media Podcast we'd like you to check out. We've got Disney Dish with Len Testa, the Epic Universal Podcast. I do that with Eric Hersey, who produces a lot of the shows here. Likewise, I Want That Too. Our Disney Merch Podcast, which I do with Eric's lovely bride, Lauren. Also want to remind you that Manufacturing the Magic, the themed entertainment history podcast we host here at Jim Hill Media, that's done by Noah and Shelley Valladolid, and there'll be a brand new episode of that posted this coming Saturday, whereas just today, again, reminder, Drew and I are recording this episode of Fine Tuning on Sunday, September 7th. Patreon subscribers can hear a brand new Disney Unpacked, the episode that Len, veteran Imagineer Jim Schul, and I did about the Main Street Opera House. And Mr. Schul and I already hard at work on the next Disney Unpacked, which will take you inside of all the corporate lounges that used to be around Epcot.
Jim, do you remember when we had an event in the corporate lounge of the Living Seas? That was so exciting.
I actually have included that in the script of the show because Schul actually tells this great story about how the CEO of United Technology. Well, first of all, United Technology has absolutely nothing to do with the ocean. It's a company that makes jet engines and elevators. All right. In fact, they signed the contract to be a sponsor of the Living Seas in like the summer of '82, like 3 and 4 months before Epcot opens, because the hype was at the absolute height at the point, and there was this, I want to be part of this. It's like, we have nothing to do with the ocean. Shut up, I want this. But the deal was that for putting up most of the $90 million it cost to build the Living Seas Pavilion, the guy was like, look, that $5.7 million tank that the pavilion is built around, the best view of that tank, I want it in the corporate lounge.
Oh, interesting.
So the entire building, I mean, don't get me wrong, you have a nice view from Seabase Alpha, you have a nice view from the Coraline Cafe, but you have a spectacular view from, again, where we had the event.
Yeah, that also explains why there's a see-through plastic piano that I'm sure they could never get out again from that space.
No, that's it exactly. But here's the kicker, that this was Schul's favorite part of it. The guy wanted it built on the second level. So the notion was, when you look out in from the corporate lounge, you have the absolute best view of when they're feeding the fish in the tank. But as Schul explained, that the thing is that when you get in the tank and you're feeding, there are 6,000 fish in that tank. And to be honest, Drew, they get a little aggressive. And so, the notion is from, the United Technology people would gather around the window when it's time to feed the fish, and the guys in the scuba tanks would get in the thing, and they'd suddenly be surrounded by this mob of very angry, hungry fish. And it was like, people would actually back away from the carnage, like, oh, are they okay? It's like... So
they're fine. They're just hungry.
But
they're fine.
But no, Shul shared that story. So it was one of these things where it's like, got to mention that Drew and I were in there, part of our event, and we definitely have to tell that
cool.
story. Yeah. So
yeah.
But anyway, speaking of shows, want to thank all the nice folks out there for their comments on the Case 4 with Chris Cox. Brand new show debuted. Folks seem to really like this thing Len and I are doing with this professional magician and mind reader. Anyway, as we run for the curtain here, also want to thank Eric Hersey and David Gray for the great job they do editing and producing this podcast. Also want to ask a favor of you folks. Could you please head on over to Apple Podcasts and rate and review, well, not just this show, but also Light the Fuse and... Social media, Drew, still in the same places?
Yeah, Drew Tailored, like a tailored shirt on Instagram and Twitter/X. And Jim, where can people find you?
I am on X and Instagram as Jim Hill Media, and then over on Facebook as Jim Hill Media News. And I guess that's going to do it for this week. So on behalf of Mr. Taylor, thanks so much for listening to this week's Fine Tuning, and we will be back soon.